Hartwig here with my guinea pig Asha, who has been a holy terror tonight. I've lost her twice. I'm kind of a terrible owner. Anyway, we should talk about Act 2, Scene 3. And by talk, I mean I'm going to talk and you're going to watch this. So, this scene opens with Mercutio and Benvolio hanging out, talking about what all has transpired since the night before. Neither of them have seen Romeo, but early that morning, Tybalt sent a letter to Romeo's house, and Mercutio assumes that it's a challenge. And it's a challenge as in challenge to a duels, I should say. Benvolio says that Romeo will gladly face Tybalt, but Mercutio states that Romeo's um, already dead as he's been stabbed through by a woman's eye, so Rosalind's eye. He's already dead. Mercutio then goes on to say that he doubts Romeo will be able to face Tybalt, as Tybalt is a gifted swordsman. That's the whole thing about the Prince of Cats. And Romeo is also really preoccupied with his love, so he won't be much of a fighter. Mercutio does this, of course, while also making lots of jokes, some of them dirty, and it's a pretty funny scene. Romeo shows up, and Romeo and Mercutio have some hilarious friendly banter that goes back and forth, and then Juliet's nurse shows up with Peter, and Mercutio directs some crude jokes at her. The nurse asks for a private word with Romeo, and they make the marriage plans after the nurse warns Romeo that he'd better not be leading her into, quote, a fool's paradise. The marriage plans are a bit less complex than they are today, but far riskier, especially given how things ended up. Uh-oh. The plan is for Juliet to come up with some reason to leave to go to Shrift that afternoon, and Shrift, of course, would be confession, for which she would go to Friar Lawrence. Why are you biting me? I don't bite you. Anyway, so they're going to go off and get married when she goes to confession. That'd be the only acceptable place for her to go as a female and go to alone. So anyway, after that, he also says, Romeo tells the nurse that he's going to send somebody with a rope ladder so that he can get up to her bedroom that night so that they can have their wedding night. That's gross. The scene ends with another bit of foreboding that we've seen before in some of the other scenes. The nurse makes a connection between Romeo and rosemary. Now, rosemary is a common herb that we cook with, but it's also a token of remembrance between lovers. Incidentally, though, it's also an herb that people use to remember the dead. So that is the little bit of foreboding. Hope you've enjoyed this Act 2, Scene 3 wrap up. And this is Asha and Miss Hartwig saying, peace out, friends.